is everywhere and it's institutionalized. We cannot really be racist because racism is prejudice plus power. Nothing I say up here nor anywhere in the world will impact stop.
All right. Welcome once again to the beatzillapdx official show. I am your host, beatzillapdx official, and this is a very brief news break. And I came across this article briefly, not recently, and it was very interesting. It came right across my timeline, as you know, that's how things happen. And so real quick, it says Black leaders say threats to undermine U.S. democracy appear aimed at their community. And that just jumped out at me as I'm sure it probably just, you know, caught you. This is a story by Ayanna Alexander from the Associated Press. This came out 2 hours ago. And so let's see. Let me do this here. And as I'm doing that, please like and share this broadcast if you will. So it says, is it a delegate? I'm not sure what that stands for. I believe that's what that is. Stacey Plaskett, Democrat from, I guess, Virginia, speaks on a panel about threats to democracy at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's annual legislative conference Thursday, September 21st, 2023 in Washington. Okay, and that's the picture under the headline. So that's what you're seeing right there. It says, goes on to read, some of the nation's most influential Black leaders on Thursday said many threats to the democratic institutions in the United States appear to be aimed squarely at their community, including efforts to make voting more difficult, censor lessons around race, and weaken social safeguards such as affirmative action. Okay. They used a wide-ranging forum at the annual meeting of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation as a call to action to ensure the interests of Black Americans are not further eroded. Well, I would like to understand right there, with a policy of benign neglect, our interests are always eroded. So it's like, yeah, all right. I mean, take that as you will. It says, quote, attacks on our democracy are happening on all fronts, said Nicole Austin Hillary, president and CEO of the foundation. She said they are grounded in, quote, a racist view of America, and they all depend on misinformation and often downright deceit, unquote. You don't say. Several members of the Black Caucus, along with voting rights advocates and community activists, spoke. Excuse me, just weather changes a beast on my voice. Spoke about how most Republican-led actions to dismantle affirmative action in higher education, ban books in schools, and restrict voting are particularly harming Black Americans. As one example, they referred to the state and local controversies over critical race theory, an academic concept centered on the notion that racism is inherent in the country's institutions. It has become a familiar talking point for Republican lawmakers across the country as they have restricted how race can be taught, even though there is little evidence that critical race theory is being taught in K through 12 schools. Well, there is not. It goes on to say Kimberly W. Crenshaw, a law professor who helped develop the concept, said it was part of excuse me, a widespread attack on Black history, wisdom, and knowledge. Quote, we have to recognize that we are fighting for right now in not just the next election or the election after that, she said. We're fighting for our right to be here for the rest of this century and beyond. Mm. It goes on to say the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation said 18 states have limited how race can be taught. Florida, whose governor Ron DeSantis is running for the GOP presidential nomination, has made headlines around its efforts to curb how schools teach about race and to block advanced placement courses on African American studies. Several speakers also criticized the United States Supreme Court's decision earlier this year ending affirmative action in college admissions, that it's forcing campuses to look for new ways to diversify their student bodies. Damon Hewitt, president and executive director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, called out what he saw as a double standard with the end of affirmative action and the continuation of the so-called legacies admissions and the practice of favoring applicants with families tied to alumni. Well, that probably should have been something that you were considering off the rip. But see, these people have went unchecked, and because of benign neglect, here you guys try to come running up in the fourth quarter talking about you were down with this game all along. And truth be told, I think that a lot of this, especially the affirmative action talk, that really isn't about us. That is more of a immigrants benefits thing. So I mean, let's just be real about what that really is, because they're saying black community or black people, but they really don't mean us. You know, we know that by now. Excuse me. We fought for it because we know that it is not a handout. Hewitt said. Oh wait, let me go back. Did I miss something here? Hold on. Okay, yeah, we fought for it because we know it's not a handout. Hewitt said of the steps to boost minority enrollment. It's what we deserve. Several leaders also cited efforts at the state level since the 2020 election to make voting more difficult. Steps in mostly Republican-led states that have had disproportionate impact on communities of color and drawn numerous lawsuits. Oh, Lord. Latasha Brown, co-founder of Vote Blacks Matter or Black Votes Matter. Um, let's see. That's right. I think I've spoken on this particular organization before. Let me take a drink of this water. If my memory serves me correct, I'm pretty sure that I have spoke on this particular organization before. Let's see. So Latasha Brown, co-founder of the Black Voters Matter Fund, drew on the struggle for civil rights and voting rights as inspiration to push harder against restrictive laws and to expand the ability to vote. We absolutely are okay with our vote. There's no problem here. Where I guess you're trying to get is all of these people who are showing up by the thousands on the daily. You know, you're getting 10,000 in some cities per week because of this open border policy and just absolutely destroying America. However, you know, that's what they're gearing up for to protect. That doesn't sound good. So, let's see. She noted how Black Americans had once been denied even the ability to learn to read and write. Yeah, because they were enslaved. That's not a voting right thing. That's being considered property thing. Oh, goes on to say. And in this country, power is not something that is earned. You have got to take power in this country, she said. We're operating in this political context like we're not fighting for our very lives. Virgin Island Representative Stacey Plaskett spoke out against attacks made by many Republicans against the country's core institutions. Now, I just have to go back to that first part. Virgin Islands representative. And this is who's leading the charge. So if you were wondering earlier when this picture was up, when speaking of Latasha Brown, also, I believe that is her. Family, if her eyes were blue, I mean, I don't believe her eyes are blue. I mean, of course, blue contacts, but would you be surprised if that woman turned to you and just had these bright blue contacts in your eyes? I mean, it just gives me that type of energy. Maybe I'm wrong. But nonetheless, let's go back to Virgin Islands Representative Stacey Plaskett spoke out against attacks made by many Republicans against the country's core institutions, especially calls to dismantle the Justice Department in the wake of charges brought against the former President Donald Trump, including those related to his attempts to remain in power despite losing the 2020 election. She said the attacks on fundamental pillars of democracy and the suggestion that some people should not be held legally accountable were creating widespread distrust in the federal government and deepening the political divide. Are you kidding? No, ma'am. No, I would have to disagree there. Nah. Because, see, right there, you start getting into that political divide talk. Whoa, you're starting to divide. What that means is black, or of course, it's, black men are turning away from the Democratic Party, the Democrat Party, rather. And that's where they're having their conversations about. So this is one of those meetings that is there to kind of network for the think tank squads and whatnot. So they meet in open site, and then they'll go have their little side meetings and dinners after that. But this is what everybody gets to see. So understand, this is what they say, a call to action. Who are they really going after? Because they don't have any plans to do anything to Ron DeSantis nor to Donald Trump. Although all these things are still going on. So, and then all the states that they mention, is there some kind of initiative that they are presenting that will possibly change the how state how state situations are going, and with the education system? It just seems to me that you should be hearing something about that. And of course, with this woman, we already know where she's from. But there's so many other people that are involved, and we don't know really. Truth be told, I would say very few of these people involved here are actually foundational Black Americans. I think that would be a safe bet. Let's see. Nonetheless, The Associated Press coverage of race and voting received support from the Jonathan Logan Foundation. Oh, blah blah blah, whatever. They just go through some of the people who were there and who spoke. People like Samantha Tweedy. She's the CEO of Black Economic Alliance. She spoke on the panel about threats to the democracy. See, they're putting some heavyweight Boule members out here. These aren't just the talking heads. Let's see. You have Representative Stephen Horsford from, he's a Democrat, of course, from Nevada. He listens, okay, that's just a picture. They describe the picture. But, and of course, just so you know that they would never leave out a good pander. He wasn't just in the audience, but yes, indeed, he was also on the stage. Tennessee Representative Justin, Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones, and and then the woman that was, and also the woman that's next. I don't have the other picture of her because the picture that they actually posted does not do her good justice. Not that, well, anyway. So those were some of the people who spoke at this particular event. Kimberly Crenshaw, she spoke. And then, of course, you had a woman from the Virgin Islands. And, I guess she felt qualified to speak about our vote. And obviously, this is about making sure that they shore up the Black vote. And again, we already see that, the things for Joe Biden, the support for Joe Biden is ever fleeting. So in situations like this, what can you really say? Really can't do nothing for you, man. I mean, because at the end of the day, this is the sound of the Democrats.
I'm not always going to only talk about what we can do for Black people.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
And then you got all these other dudes that they rolling out here, these real funny style cats. Like, oh man, y'all, it's gonna be we hate women. It's gonna be this, that. We're trying to tear down democracy and all of that. Well,
No, baby.
Not at all. And now understand, when it comes down to what they are pushing, let's remember, this is what they're trying to sell us, man.
You know that old story about the two frogs in the pots of water? Okay, so you're a good storyteller. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So 2 frogs and 2 pots of water. So in one pot of water, you drop the frog in and you slowly turn up the heat. And that frog will be like, oh, it's getting a little warm in here. And then that water starts to boil and that frog perishes. In the other pot of water, you turn up the heat to the point it's boiling. You drop the frog in it, it'll jump right out. Let's not be that first frog.
What on earth is she talking about? I mean, does anyone know at all what that was supposed to be? Lord. Oh my goodness. But even more so, even on a more serious note, y'all know that Joe Biden is giving over 300 and something million to Ukraine again. And this dude came over here to pick up his check today. That's what's so crazy about this. Check this out.
that no nation can be truly secure in the world if, in fact, we don't stand up and defend the freedom of Ukraine from the face of aggression.
So America, no nation is going to be good if we don't stand up and defend the Ukraine. Man, now you going to have a bunch of these. I don't know how these bootlicks and these shields are going to try to push this one off. I mean, because that's a huge albatross around the Democrats' neck right now. And then they're acting like that doesn't exist. On top of that, we have this other crisis at the border that they keep trying to ignore. And they can't, but they are. But even more so, just listen to this press conference coming from the White House.
First, with regards to the United States' commitment to Ukraine, there are 26 Republican lawmakers, including 6 senators, a small minority, as you mentioned before, who sent a letter to the OMB director saying that they were unaware of just how much the administration has spent thus far in support of Ukraine. They know how much was appropriated, obviously, but they don't know how much has been spent thus far. Do you have a general figure you can give us?
I'm not going to stand here and give a precise figure. What I will tell you is that we have supplied to the Congress every dollar that has been obligated. So if they are unaware, it's because they are not looking at the reports that we are submitting to the Hill.
And this stupid we are, because we're not falling for this. That's just what I mean, you know, just understanding you guys having a whole gathering of think tank. We got to get out for jail. And what we need to do is find some way to shame black men back into voting for the Democratic Party. Well, let's see. Well, how black men feel about immigration? They are pissed. And plus, both of those coming in the borders and getting funded with their money, by their money, and they have anti-black sentiments, both coming from across the south of the border and also Ukraine. Whole Nazis over there in Ukraine. But even listen to how they respond to the border crisis.
So what do you call it here at the White House when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP puts forth a wait, no, you can't.
Green?
I'm answering. Okay, we're gonna move
You're
on.
answering
No,
the question with the question?
no. We're moving on.
Green,
moving.
please.
In the back.
Now, you said you were stopping the flow at the border.
No. I tried to
migrants-
answer, Peter. I
okay.
tried to answer the question. You stopped me. Let's go.
So there was footage yesterday.
Too funny. Too funny. So what we have to also remember is that the conversation of reparations is extremely huge and on the table, and these reparations panels that are happening are furthering the notion of lineage-based reparations, which is the right thing. And so with that being said, we're going to have a lot of people coming in trying to get into the mix. So we always have to remember what we do around here. Hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So this has been a beatzillapdx official news break. I hope you enjoyed this tasty tidbit of information. You know how we do around here. So always understand that we're going to have to deal with all of these Congressional Black Caucus or fake talkers, fake black talkers, and also the shield apparatus that's going along with the agenda that They are going to try to sell us. However, there's all of this money that is going to help illegal invaders coming across this border, and they're not sending them back as they should. You have a whole ICE, and now they're trying to make them permanent residents. They're trying to give them ICE IDs. Joe Biden is he's doing these things. No one needs to push him or prod him to do it. But nonetheless, that's what he is doing. So you just got to think, let's see, can I even find that? Let's see. Sanctuary cities. Okay, what do I got here? Oh no, this is nothing. So, but yeah, I've seen some things about that. So I will get to that later. But nonetheless, this has been a Beatzilla PDX official news break. And if you would, family, please hit that like button, and share this on your social media, as well as you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, at Beatzilla PDX. And hopefully y'all will share this and text this to a friend. You know what I'm saying? And text this to a person that you know might be on the border of still stuck on the Democratic plantation and not voting their own self-interest. So when we say getting off of the Democratic plantation, that means you're moving into independence. So your vote has to be just as independent. You understand what I'm saying? And we're not telling you to go. I'm not advocating Republican. I'm not advocating for no Democrats. But what I am saying is the Democrats have gotten nothing but one-sided support, and then turn around and say that's allyship. That's a coalition. No, it is not. That is just a party riding a mule. And who's the mule? It has been foundational Black Americans. Do not let yourself go out like that any longer, family. And for those of you out there who think that we should go out like that, well, let me say for myself, Beatzilla PDX official, and for everybody watching right now, all of you good, strong, Black first individuals who are paying attention and who are wide awake, well, I think I speak for all of us when I say, for you blind, deaf, dumb Biden sexuals who still gonna stay on that train, we proudly dedicate this song to you. Get up off of that cocaine and get up off of that crack. Get yourself together and get your mind back. All right, until next time, family, which is we're going to be doing the weekly wrap up. So make sure you tune in to the weekly wrap up later on live right here on this same broadcast channel. And with that being said, stay Black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, Black first, Black first. Shalom, y'all.